Officials in Nigeria's aviation sector have clarified that the much-anticipated Nigerian Air project is still a work in progress, as the process of securing an operating license is still at the first phase. Aviation authorities disclosed this when they appeared before the Senate's Committee on Aviation and the National Assembly to provide clarity on the controversies arising from the recent unveiling of Nigerian Air. Take a listen to the stakeholders around the industry on this topic.
The Nigeria Air project. The issue was shrouded in secrecy to the extent that it was fraudulently displayed as a new national carrier, contrary to the extant court order and international rules that strictly guided airline operations. This indeed was an embarrassment to the committee.
Nigeria Air Project is a project believed by all Nigerians. It's part of the aviation roadmap that was approved by Mr. President in 2016. Despite the delays, it took off in 2021 following due process. It's not a fluke, it's real. The Nigeria Air project is real.
Amongst other things, have 3 aircraft before the NCA will give us a license. And those 3 aircraft must be Nigerian registered aircraft. That issue of the aircraft was totally misconstrued by everybody who was just trying to be mischievous. We are not at the point of operating the airline yet. At all.
Good that we should have a national carrier, but of course Nigerians will equally want to see a national carrier that they are proud of, and they could see that is commencing on a very solid and clean slate. As it is today, you are not starting well.
Joining me to look at issues around this development is a spokesperson of the Airline Operators of Nigeria and also the chairman, United Nigerian Airlines, Professor Obiora Okonkwo. He joins me live from our Abuja studios. Prof, it's good to see you. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Good to see you again.
Prof, let's start this way. There was a subsisting court injunction stopping this action by the minister, but at the end of the day, we saw that unveiling. First, what is your reaction to this? Because I know AON was also in court with regards to this issue.
Yes, we were surprised to see the Minister of Aviation and their partners, Ethiopian Airline, go against the court order, which was very, very clear, to stay action, maintain status quo, until certain issues that were brought up in the court are clarified. And these are the issues of the processes, procedures surrounding the Nigeria Air. But rather than just providing answers to them in court, they had tried as much as possible to frustrate the case and continued with what they were doing, which obviously manifested itself in the event that took place on the 26th. We felt really ashamed of that, and we were surprised that Ethiopian Airline could be allowed just in our own soil to disobey the law of the land. They wouldn't allow anybody to do that. And more especially when that was done, seated next to an executive member of government of Nigeria. That should have been avoided, and we're not happy about that. We feel that Nigerian law must be respected. Nigeria as a country deserves respect. No foreign operator, no foreign individual should be allowed to just take us for granted. So that's really a thing that I'm sure is not over yet with the court. The court will do the needful, and then we hope that each and every one of them who was involved in that act should be brought to book.
It's a good way to start, but I'd like to follow up with the fact that some will say Ethiopian Air operating for more than 70 years, and there's a lot of experience for us to take from that. But I would ask you, as airline operators in the country, what really has been your position, and what is your position at the moment with regards to this issue? Is this going to affect your business in any way, or is it not just for private investors to come in side by side with local players?
Well, our interest in this is very, very narrow. It's very, very narrow in the sense that we understand our limitations as airline operators. We are private business owners who are patriotic Nigerians who are putting multi-billion US dollars investment in our economy. We have been part of job generation in this country. We had contributed immensely to the GDP of this country. And we are very, very proud that we have the privilege and opportunity to do that. So we do not in any way come to TV like we are with you today as a whistleblower. We are not, we are above that, you know. This is in a gathering of airline owners. Good number of them are great Nigerians. So, but what we're just simply saying is that for the knowledge we have about this aviation sector, it is a global village. It is one of the most regulated sectors in the whole world because safety is key, it involves life. So the rules and regulations that apply in Nigeria are the same thing that apply in every part of the world. So we were shocked when we saw the process of Nigeria Airways going contrary to the rules. So knowing fully well that anything that goes wrong in that process, and then they come up with AOC, which we have said, you know, Air Operators Certificate, it will affect us. It will affect mine, it will affect APs, it will affect Bonner, it will affect United, it will affect any AOC that may have emanated from NCA here. And when it does affect us, what it means is that we should be blacklisted from flying to any part of the world. And when that is done, the aviation industry will collapse on our head. Because when the operators collapse, when our air certificate is seen as worthless, the industry will collapse. When the industry collapses, the service providers in the industry will collapse, the ground handlers, the fuelers, and so on and so forth. And then it will obviously affect the economy of this country. It will affect employment. And our investment, more importantly, will vanish. So this is just what we are talking about. It's not about competition, contrary to some opinions being expressed out there. No. It is actually Ethiopian Airline that is afraid of competition in Nigeria. If you look around major countries in Africa, it is only in Nigeria you will see a robust, active, multiple players in aviation sector. And the Ethiopian Airline is what they are today, majorly because of Nigeria mobile population. And so they are afraid that if, as we are getting our act right with the great effort of NCA led by their DG, then it will affect them. So they are coming through the back door to use this opportunity to get some privileges, to get some favored position, and then outdo us in the market. That is not fair. We don't think that our government, that would have been rather, you know, encouraging and promoting our champions in this aviation sector, should aid Ethiopian Airlines to come and undo us. We have champions. I can tell you, you know, Air Peace is champion. It's aviation champion in Africa. You know, there is no other private airline owner that is compared to Air Peace. And a whole lot more of them. Look at Ibon Air is doing well. You have Mass Air, you have Asman, you have so many other people who have been in this business. And they have really weathered a lot of storm and become what they are today. We only need encouragement. And by the way, as much as we would want them to do what they want to do with Nigeria Air, as long as it is along the line and the regulations, we don't have any capacity to stop that. But it is also important to let us know that the issue of national carrier is mundane, is moribund. Nobody talks about national carrier in any part of the world. British Airways, you see flying in and out of Nigeria and going to other parts of the world, is not a national carrier, it's a flag carrier. Lufthansa Airline is a flag carrier. South African Airways is a flag carrier. The difference between flag carrier and national carrier is that government owns national carrier. But flag carrier is where is private sector driven. And there could be 1, 2, 3, 4 flag carriers out of any country. So this is exactly, if you look at the Virgin Atlantic is a flag carrier. It's a private owned company, but it's using the British landing rights all over the world. And especially when government of Nigeria is selling off their shares in government investment because they realize it's not the business of the day, why should somebody else be driving another process that is going to be opening up a new business? And that's where we are today. And I set up an airline, and I knew the processes. And if we've been talking about this business under the government umbrella since 2016, and for huge amount of money that have been spent today, and what we saw on the 26th of last month was all they could offer. It's already a good signal of what worst that will come in the future. But however, I don't take decision for government. They can decide what they want to do, but let them do it right in full and strict compliance with the Civil Aviation Authority laws, which is the same thing all over the world.
Well, before we talk about what government needs to do at this time, because I'm going to also ask you that question, more disturbing is also the revelation that the national carrier had failed to progress the phase 2 of the air operator certificate process. That is also another thing. So why the rush if all of the certification are not being completed?
Well, as at that 26th of last month, they were still in phase 1. They had not moved. So if there was any movement about that to phase 2, then that would have been day after. But however, even the court order, what part of the meaning of the court order is that all the processes should stop, until the matter was determined. But even if we take it that they are in phase 2, it's great, but they still have phase 3, phase 4, and phase 5. So it's still a long process. So, and that, if they have to do it and NCA leaves every other thing they're doing, and phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, it will not take them anything less than 6 months because it's done express. So it's still a long way to go. So I am also aware that more revelations that came out of the National Assembly hearing was that as we speak today, no investor has made an investment of 1 kobo or $1 in the business. So if Ethiopian Airline has not brought $1, and the other Nigerian shareholders, in quote, have not brought $1, and they have not even negotiated fully and signed into place the shareholders agreement. So who are setting up this airline? We also heard from ICRC that they have not even certified the business plan up to the point, and they will take it to the Federal Executive Council to approve before now it becomes a document to be used in the business. So it's really unfortunate that some of these things are what they are, but we are really disappointed. Let it be transparent, let it be straight, let it be the way it should be, and then we wish them well.
Well, let's move on with this conversation. And looking at that inquiry, some are saying that a lot of issues also popped up in regards to our airports now, moving even away from that. 22 airports are owned by the federal government. Now I'm going to ask you this. It's a new government, and many are setting an agenda, of course, for the aviation industry. While we're going to also talk about, because having a national carrier is everyone's joy, what really is the right way to go about it that it wouldn't affect those already in business? And what can be done about concessioning some of our airports?
Well, I am aware that concessioning of the airport may not necessarily be the issue, but concessioning the airport in a transparent way and in the hands of the right people who have the resources and the technical know-how to manage that. That in itself is able to bring back money to the government and they recoup investment they've made in the airport. Government in Nigeria in particular have not proven they have the capacity to manage anything. A typical example of a vibrant concessioned airport in Nigeria is Asaba Airport. It is in the hands of private managers owned by Delta State government. They seem to be doing pretty very well, generating revenue and functioning to the very high standard. So that's not our concern. If government chose to do the concession, well and good. For us as operators, we want just airport with the right facilities, with the right infrastructures that will enable us to operate seamlessly. Because the government is not able to create viability in most of the airport. It has brought about restriction on operational standard and then also operational period. You know, you may have known what we do talk about sunset and sunrise. Good number of these airports are under sunset and sunrise. That means you can't take off or land there before 6 a.m. in the morning or after 6:30 in the evening, as the case may be. These airports are probably equipped to operate beyond that, but it's because, you know, if they have to be on, generator has to be on, they have to fuel the generator, they have to keep the staff. And there may not be enough landings and taking off to be able to pay for the bill. So they just, for easy expenses, decide to shut it down. And that has brought a whole lot of pressure on the scheduling of the operators. So you see, if you have an aircraft that has to do 6 to 8 sectors, you squeeze them between 6:30 to 6:30 in the morning to 6:30 in the evening. And then if there is any issue of delay as a result of weather, VIP movement, or other things that might just cause delay outside the operational reasons, you see yourself overshooting 6:30 p.m., and then that might lead to cancellation of the flight. So these are the issues. So we think that if there will be a proper concession and all the airports are highly managed in a professional way, well-funded, more importantly, not just giving it to people to make money for themselves and not reinvest, then we, the operators, will be happy to run even 24 hours like most airports do in Nigeria. And then the passengers will also have the confidence to travel at any time.
IATA is saying, still speaking around foreign airlines being old, and they're also having a beautiful outlook for the aviation industry, both local and, of course, the global space. How would you react to this? So what are you thinking around that space, considering that some countries are getting back to pre-COVID levels?
Oh, yes. It is worrying to know that the aviation sector really had a big knock during and after the COVID. But it's still on record, I've said that severally, that the Nigerian aviation sector had the fastest recovery pace compared with any other part of the world. In fact, from the world records, we're only second to Colombia, not minding the fact that we did get nothing, no support from the government. It might surprise you to know that the only thing that came to the entire aviation ecosystem, I've said that before, was just 4 billion. That 4 billion was to be shared by all the operators, by all the service providers, the caterers, the airport taxi, the ground handlers, and so on and so forth. It was nothing compared to the fact that many countries supported their flag carriers with billions and billions of US dollars. So we were grounded for many months. We had to pay salaries out of our pocket. We still came back after COVID, and we're still surviving. So that is great. And we also agree with the fact that the outlook is looking good. The people, the world is back to full activities. And then the Nigerian population will remain ever mobile. They'll continue to travel. And you may have known that the aviation fuel has been long deregulated. So we're also seeing with the deregulation coming from the angle of the PMS, we expect the road transport to cost to come a little bit higher, and then combined with the bad roads and other things that are associated with road travel, at least as of today, we think that the choice of air travel will still grow. It will be on the increase. It is also worthy to note here what I have said in my other outings, that these current operators had moved Nigeria travelers number from 5 million to 20 million per annum, and that made it the fastest growing aviation sector in the entire whole world shortly before COVID. So I think that by the time we are back to this, we should be hitting about 25 million in the next 1 or 2 years, considering the fact that good number of the operators have signed in on new aircraft and expanding their routes and all that. So it's a good news, but except that we think that a lot of support is still needed. I've said severally that any investment government made in aviation sector is a win-win situation, because for every single ticket you sell, government has their own cost. As a matter of fact, if you are paying 50,000 naira for any ticket, you might be surprised to hear that up to 40% go to different government agencies, from NCA to FAM to NAMA to all those. So government make a whole lot of money from our aviation sector. So why should we not invest in it? Not only that we are investing in something that add heavily to the GDP of this country, you're also investing in something that will create jobs, direct and indirectly, and then you're also doing something that is empowering a whole lot of people. All right, so I really think that it is a sector I think that incoming government or the new government should be able to pay a particular attention to. It has really been highly neglected, especially when you have serious operators who are very seriously minded, patriotic Nigerians who have in some months past weathered a whole lot of storm, bleeded deeply, heavily, incurred a whole lot of loss. I'm proud to tell you that if you had flown from December to March this year, any single aircraft that was up there in the sky, we were bearing the cost. We were the reason why you were flying, not because of the money you paid. Because passenger load was low, no money was in circulation, and if you had decided to bring it down and not fly because you are losing money, it would have grounded the economy, and it would have been a security risk, and then you would have been branded a saboteur. So we took all these pains, and then that's why we really think that in dealing with government, we deserve to sit down as partners and listen to each other and support us, and not to aid the process directly or indirectly that will undermine our own effort.
I must thank you so much, Professor Obiora Okonkwo, the Chairman, United Nigerian Airline, and also the spokesperson of the airlines operators in Nigeria. Thank you so much for your insight into this topic of discourse. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.